G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Dave Lindeque. He's the Director of Product and a co-founder of Orbit Partners. He's based in Los Angeles, USA. Thanks for your time today, Dave.
Hey, Troy. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. And thank you for the time.
As we were talking about just before we hit record, clearly your accent isn't from where you are right now. You're originally from South Africa?
Yeah, correct. Grew up in Durban, been living in Cape Town, and then been in Santa Monica, Los Angeles, 2.5 years now. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And let's start with how we know each other. So Adam Stone from Speedlancer, who I had on the podcast, he thought you might be a great guest to come on the cast.
Yeah, Adam's a great friend of mine, another really top Australian entrepreneur. So yeah, always grateful when he introduces me.
Yeah, he was on episode 195, for those that want to go back and listen to that. Tell our audience a bit about your business, what it does and how it makes money.
Cool. So Orbit Partners is a software engineering and design studio based in Santa Monica. And we work with companies of all sizes. And just basically our kind of motto is that we unlock value through pixels and code. So generally we like to solve problems. We like to understand your business and see how we can unlock actual tangible ROI. We work with companies across various industries. So we don't focus in any one particular niche. But just generally the full stack engineering and specialist design.
Great. Is there any particular technology or software that you focus on working with?
Our passion is pretty much web apps and mobile apps, native. We love React native apps too. So a lot of front end builds. And then we've done also quite a bit of back end development work in Django. So we cover the full stack, but our passion generally lies in front end products. We're just really product centric and design centric. So we love people using and engaging with our products. So we've kind of tended towards these products that actually engage with the client and the consumer.
How did you start out?
How did I start out? It's been a long haul, actually. I'm 30 years old, but it's actually been a little bit of ups and downs. While I was at university, I started a company. We're the first South African smartphone brand, homegrown. And that was massive, massive ups and downs. That's what I thought I was going to be doing for the rest of my career, was building a South African tech company. And massive learning. On day one, we did exceptionally well. And we sold over 3,000 units online in the first morning. And I thought that was the trajectory. And then it was a big crash and burn. So a lot of lessons learned. I then actually became a financial analyst and thought I would leave the entrepreneurial world behind me. And after 6 months, I felt like this was not life. No. Going to the desk and checking in and out every day. So then I started focusing on tech, which was my passion. I was a co-founder of a payment company in South Africa. And I also led special projects at AfriHost, which is the country's leading internet service provider. And then I was just feeling itchy and had started working. The whole Orbit process had started in South Africa with various clients, and then had an American partner. And one thing led to another, and essentially, long story short, started building product in the United States for clients of all sizes.
Yep, right. And how long ago was that? What year did Orbit launch? Well, we'll start.
4 years ago.
Yep.
4 years ago, the process started. Yeah.
Great, 2018. And the payment company you mentioned a minute ago, what ended up happening with that?
Yeah, so the payment company, we kind of personally felt like we were stagnating a little bit. So we actually sold some of the intellectual property, and then I exited the company. And then being a kind of free man, deciding where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do next, I felt like there was great opportunity in LA, and particularly with Orbit, which had already begun here. And haven't looked back since.
Do you have any key numbers to illustrate the growth of Orbit?
So in the first year, it was pretty difficult to get going. The company was still kind of establishing our value proposition. And in year 2, experienced about a 50% growth rate on a kind of relatively low base, struggling to hit 6 digits USD. And then post that, in years 3 and 4, managed to get positive in excess of 100% year-on-year compounding.
Yep.
And yeah, 7-digit company now. So really happy with where things have gone.
Oh, great. Fantastic. And how many team members, full-time equivalents did you start with, and how many have you got now?
Started with 3 and now I've reached 14.
Yep.
Predominantly senior engineers, and actually between here and South Africa.
Yep. Great. That's really good growth over 4 years, 3 to 14. Well done. When was the moment you felt like you had succeeded?
To be honest, I don't feel like I've succeeded. And I've always, since a young boy, been the hardest critic on myself, whether it be sport, academia, business. And I don't ever feel like I've succeeded, and maybe that's a good blessing and a curse. But I feel like the company's on a good trajectory, got amazing partners, amazing people in the company. So I felt like maybe things clicked, and maybe that would be an element of success, like a little bit of confidence gain was when I brought on the partner that I have now, who's Anthony Rubin, an American based here. And yeah, it just, since that, we kind of changed our strategy, changed our approach, started focus on what we actually enjoy building, and things have really taken off.
What does success look like to you?
Success for me, I think, is being happy within yourself and happy with what you're doing on a daily basis. I'm very blessed with the people that I engage on a daily basis with, where we're always learning and always wanting to improve. And I think success for me would be improving to a point where my peers who I really respect turn around and applaud and actually congratulate and feel like they're learning from something that we're doing. That would be, for me, the ultimate success. And to truly, throughout it all, be actually just happy internally.
Number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
Well, to be honest, I think your track record. And we found that we've done limited marketing, actual no paid marketing. We're slowly now building out a bit of a sales wing who are doing various other forms of marketing. But what we found is just simply relying on our track record and continuously building great products that have success and result that are verifiable by data, and then going from that client to client, building upon that. New clients are always more inclined to work with you when they've seen your track record.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we've just continued to try and work in a variety of industries and hit those projects really hard. So
you find a lot of work coming through referrals?
Most of our work. Yeah. We've actually been relying predominantly on referrals.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a blessing thus far. Now, going 4 years old, we feel like we have reached a point now where it warrants a marketing team. So that is a key focus of the next 12 months, is actually building out a fully fledged sales and marketing team.
And do you and your co-founder have aspirations of how big you want to get, say, number of team members wise?
We do. So interestingly enough, a little bit of a break from our current model is we have recently built a cryptocurrency project that's a little bit in stealth mode. It's currently, we're in discussion with a variety of notable investors, but essentially this would be a really interesting DeFi product. And with that would be the first time where we've considered, like, how do we rapidly grow from where we're at now? We felt like we had a senior team who was strong, but with this new product where actually the company has ownership in, we're now looking to take on external capital and try and rapidly increase our headcount. The problem at the moment is that engineers are really hard to come by. So we've kept it to senior engineers.
Yep.
But at this point now, we feel like we're going to crank up the headcount significantly.
Great. And how did you fund the business?
It was, fortunately, software engineering and design is pretty high margin work. It's just extremely time consuming. So it was just a matter of 4 years ago, my partner and I doing little jobs, just keep going from that. And it was just building and reinvesting into the company, getting to the point where you can actually pay people and secure them and give them that kind of commitment. So it's just been a constant reinvestment of project profits.
Yeah. And is it only the two of you that are the investors in the business, or owners of the business, or you have external investors?
At the moment, there's 3 people, but no external capital thus far.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
I would. I definitely would. I feel like software engineering is a service that is going to be in demand for the foreseeable future. and the long term. I think we're living in a world that has never been more connected. We've seen that recently, obviously, with these big aspirational talks about the metaverse and about where Web3 is going. And this all relies on software engineers.
Yeah.
So I would say for business owners getting into software engineering, it's a great opportunity, as well as anyone who's studying and looking for a career path. I think being qualified as a software engineer is immensely valuable moving forward.
Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
Sure. I think it was actually before Orbit.
Yeah.
It was probably the first company I started, Zest Mobile. So interesting story. We had partnered with Afrios, which is this big internet company. It was massive for me as a young entrepreneur, big hype in the press. And we had this imminent date that was approaching where we were doing this VIP launch. We had been giving out tickets. The tickets were in such demand that they were actually on Gumtree, which is our classifieds. They were trading the tickets for this VIP exclusive launch. So it was big hype on this. We had been designing everything and doing all the firmware in Cape Town and then producing in Shenzhen, China. And our stock had just come off the pallet. We had just been looking at it, doing a QA of the box, and we realized that there was no screen protector. And on the side of the box, it clearly said that there was a cover included, a screen protector. It was an Android device that we had built, and there was no screen protector. So the company that we partnered with said, Afrios, they said that their reputation was too high. If there's no screen protector, there's no launch. And I think this was on a Thursday or Friday, and I was in Johannesburg at the time in South Africa. I got on a plane, I flew to Hong Kong. I met someone from the factory in Hong Kong with 2 wheeled bags with 5,000 screen protectors. I didn't even bring a bag of my own. I got back on the plane, flew back into Johannesburg, and we sat there. I got off the plane, we got there, and we had a big team, and we opened boxes, put in screen protector, closed boxes for 5,000 units, and we launched.
Wow.
That was a high stress. But it was obviously a great result.
How long did that take? So what day was the launch?
The launch was on the Monday or Tuesday, I believe.
Yeah. See, I
had the weekend essentially.
Yeah.
So it was like weekend sprint to Hong Kong and back.
Jeez. Wow. And what area in business do you feel you've had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
I would say just actually confidence, to be honest, in ourselves. I feel like we've been fortunate enough to have talented people who've been willing and wanting to work on these projects with us, but confidence in ourselves to actually reach for these bigger clients and communicate with these people. I feel like as you're getting started, you feel like maybe a bit of imposter syndrome, that maybe you're not good enough, or maybe you shouldn't be in the room. And slowly as you knock out projects and you do more work, I feel like you unlock confidence in yourself. So it's just been self-belief and my partner and I actually believing that we can do what we're setting out to do.
What have you enjoyed the least about managing fast growth?
The administration that comes with it. So being a lean company, and as I mentioned, we didn't have any sales marketing roles, just managing the general outreach, if ever. We've been managing the sales process, which is essentially my partner and I meeting clients and all the way through to the project completion. But we've definitely felt that we need to add more roles in administration to handle a lot of those tasks. And I feel like we've realized that there's just been a high opportunity cost of inefficiencies in the business. So that, definitely some of these screws we're tightening now in year 5.
What do you love most about growing a small business?
I love that you feel like we're starting to get into this mindset of feeling that there's an abundance of opportunities, and getting into that and getting into a stride of understanding what actually you bring to the table when you're communicating with a client. And that is the first. So feeling passionate about what you're doing, but secondly, also not having to report to anyone. I felt like when I failed in my first business, getting into being a financial analyst at a top equity fund, felt that was maybe what everyone wanted, what that was a secure life. And being a business owner is stressful, but you also can make your own decisions. There's no one that you're asking for vacation or reviews, etc. So
yeah, it's great, isn't it? When you love what you do, as they say, you don't work a day in your life. But there's also the other side of that coin, though. I certainly struggle with it. It can be quite addictive and hard not to work when you love what you do. Exactly,
that's very true. We've also found that for us, like, it's been very project dependent, our happiness. So we get on these rabbit holes of solving these problems, and sometimes we've learned that there's been areas that we don't want to focus on, and there's areas we're more passionate about. So we just try to get the team on to projects that are exciting to all of us.
What has been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
I think it was what we mentioned earlier. It was that for a while, we kind of felt that maybe we were out of depth, and we didn't know what the depth or the fit was, but we just didn't know what we were doing. We were just moving forward, but didn't know if we were moving forward in the right direction. And I feel that once we got validation from a few clients that we had respect for, who turned around and said, thank you for the project, thank you for the work, it's been well received. Or when we've put out work, we've put out an app here in the United States in healthcare that has done really well. During COVID, got nearly 2 million downloads, 4.9 star rating on iOS.
Wow.
And yeah, that was for Same Day Health, where my partner and I lead the mobile app development and design. And that kind of validation, when you can actually look at the scoreboard and actually open up, we love analytics. So when we open up our analytics dashboards on various projects and products, it's actually really encouraging and motivating. So, yeah.
What is the number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
I would say rapid communication. The people that I know who are the busiest are the best communicators. And I felt that that has also been a good learning over time, is that very often people see messages come in and feel that they're very busy. But as I said, the most productive and busiest people that I know are often the best communicators. If you take Adam Stone, for instance, who referred us, text him, and irrespective of the time zone, you're more than likely going to get a response in a minute or two.
I've noticed that on email with him. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a good learning that we found.
Be the change you want to see in your business. Become more productive and less stressed with our free Transform Your Performance online course. Once you see the benefits, put your entire team through the course at no cost. We start out by telling you the secret to guaranteed success, then over 100 lessons help you be more focused, present, productive, and feel more in control about work. growasmallbusiness.com.
Can you talk to how you've added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
Yeah, so I think initially we had the approach of a lot of engineering houses do, but let's quickly get any engineers on board. You come to us, you tell us you got a good track record, cool. We were bringing you on board, trust in that. And we actually had a really big project for a portfolio company of a prominent venture capitalist here. And we hired 2 new hires who had these track records that appeared to be good. But we had not at that point put them through any technical aptitude tests or anything, and we put them on these projects. And that for us was a big, scary mistake. We had got about halfway through the project, realized that the work that was supposed to be done, that was on track to being done, supposedly, had not been done.
Yeah.
So that for us was a big alarming incident. Since then, we've made onboarding and testing significantly more rigid.
Yep.
But yeah, good learning.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because it's quite common in tech, but also becoming more so in other industries, though, is to give candidates a test project before you even sit down to interview them. Because if you give them a deadline, half of them won't even submit. A quarter will miss the deadline. So there's 75% you're going to knock out. And then you've got the last 25% to look at the quality of their work before they get through the next gate. So very, very important, saves a lot of time.
Yeah, and I think a really relevant, engaging case study is important. That's how we found a lot of unlock out of that, is thinking about actual problems that we're currently solving.
Yep. And
not picking their brains, but something in a parallel industry or function, and asking them to complete a case study. As you mentioned, weeds out people very quickly.
Yeah. What are some things you'd recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with the growth?
I think listening to everyone. And so we believe that we operate as a meritocracy, and we love and celebrate new ideas and solutions. And with that, what we found is it has also resulted in referral of other senior people who wanted to work with us, just due to nature of the fact that they know that they can come and be working on an exciting project with people that are not, there's no hierarchy. It's talented people coming together to solve exciting problems. And that's been key for us to just maintain a no bullshit policy.
Yep.
Zero I think I lost you.
Yeah, I've got the same.
I think we disconnected.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of it was okay. I think that came through okay. I've got the same policies: no bullshit and no arseholes.
Yeah. One and the same almost.
Yeah. Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
So actually, interestingly enough, I got engaged. I feel like my fiance has helped me bring a little bit of balance to my life. And I think about my bachelor years before that and how singular focused it was. So I think having a fiance now, and it forces you to get out and enjoy moments that you might have passed previously.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been a really good sounding board for me, and very pleased.
How much professional development have you invested in yourself over the years?
I would say a decent amount. I really enjoy reading, really enjoy courses, and I also really believe in therapy at times. So I feel like, those three have been important, and and definitely focusing on health. I feel like a lot of people always focus on professional development, just thinking that it's, only mind and going and doing courses and certificates. But your day-to-day operation and how you function, if you function optimally, it doesn't matter what certificate you got. It's a lot better than someone who is feeling like shit.
Yeah, that's right. So, totally agree. Solid 8 hours sleep, eat well, exercise is key. And I love doubling up my time. So most of my learning is while I'm exercising, listening to audiobooks or podcasts. Yeah. Have you had mentors or coaches along the way?
I have. I've had a couple that have, through the years, come and gone. I feel like there were people that I still have really important and great relationships with. But at the time, I feel like I had mentors that were specific in various moments of my career. And coming to the United States and moving here now, I've also met a lot of really good mentors who not necessarily, I previously envisioned that, and my mentors were previously always older, but I've met a lot of really good young people here in the United States who I consider friends, but also to a degree mentors, and help steer us on the path. There's actually a young group of us South Africans who live in Los Angeles and all push one another extensively.
Yep.
And being each other's sounding board has been what I consider mentorship.
Do you have a board of directors or advisors?
Yeah, we do. We have actually 3, and now we're bringing on more with hopefully this capital raise now. So yeah, excited.
And you're one of the few we've had on that's exited a business. Do you got any advice for our audience from what your experience has been?
Well, I would say make sure that you are exiting for the right reasons. For me at the time, I wasn't exiting because I felt like the check was what I felt like it could have been. I felt like maybe I could have stayed on. It could have been worth a lot more. But at that point, I felt a bit stagnant in my life. So it was the best decision for me in hindsight. But I feel like that decision, in terms of exit, I would never start with that being the goal, is what I can really say. You should reach a point where you feel that exiting is your best outcome. Otherwise, you still have work to do.
Right, Dave, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
Hardest thing about growing a small business is, as I mentioned, I think the initial part of having to handle so many tasks, administration, sales, legal, everything yourself. So I feel like wearing many hats at the beginning is inevitable for any founder. And that is definitely a hard balancing act. So,
favorite business book which has helped you the most?
Hooked by No Ale. It's actually a product book. But for anyone out there, it obviously focuses on digital products. But it's just an incredible book. It talks about how everyone is actually driven by incentive, and how variable reward systems is what keeps people hooked and engaged with these products. The reason you're on Instagram and the reason you open Facebook is because every single time there's a variable reward for you. Your curiosity is met with something that I didn't know it was going to find. So I love that book. Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Right. I'm going to add that one to my very extensive reading list. It's part of the problem doing these podcasts. I get so many new books that I now have to read. Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
I just generally love reading, staying on top of product news, product releases. I love Product Hunt. and then always just learning new stacks on these new products. I feel like us being so hands-on, all my partners in what we're doing, just by nature of what we've done over the last, even over the last 12 months, by focusing on just reaching into industries that you previously wouldn't have worked in. We recently finished a prop tech product called st.com. You can go have a look at. And even that was massive learning. So for us, we've been so busy that it's just been supplementing with reading online and books between actual on the ground learnings.
Yep. One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
Notion, definitely.
Now,
if you're not using Notion,
yeah. I've just moved to Notion, actually, or I'm halfway through moving. I'm in purgatory, moving off the old system. But yeah, Notion's great.
Notion's amazing. And then we also are very fond of Slack.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For the audience, Notion, maybe you might be best to describe what Notion is as an app.
So they describe themselves as a wiki, but essentially it's Microsoft Office on steroids in the cloud.
Yep.
And anything you want to do on any page. So if you're writing a page and you think, hey, I'd love to link a page here, you can put it there, you can put a table, images. It's very hard to even describe. It just does everything. And it has a really nice mobile app.
Yeah, I love the mobile app. It's very powerful, flexible, and exactly what I've been looking for the last couple of years. And they're growing like no tomorrow as well.
I'm just so impressed with the engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be no easy feat, that.
Finally, my favorite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
That we can actually do it. I feel like at the beginning, we started with a sense of no belief. Not like a lot of people have false belief. We actually had no belief. We felt very pessimistic, didn't know what we were doing. And I'd say, don't be so hard on yourself, and understand that it's my number one quote that I love is like Bezos always says, step by step, ferociously. It's just lining up as many steps as you can to reach the goal and actually articulating to yourself what those steps are and just doing them step by step.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time today, Dave. Really enjoyed the chat, and I think the audience get a lot of value out of it. Congratulations on the growth, over 4 years, going from 3 team members now to 14, and the trajectory looks, very good from here on in as well. So well done to you and your co-founders and the team.
Thank you. Thank you, Troy.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Please leave a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. It means more small business owners will find our cast and help people with their business growth journey.